has to be a little bit of etiquette involved in afters, isn't it? The etiquette of an afters is it's kind of unwritten, but I'd say the etiquette of afters are usually, let's say, one of the main etiquettes of an afters is probably never inviting anybody to an afters who didn't arrive at the afters together with the group. So if some random person asks you, oh, hey, what are you doing? Can I come to the afters? Don't vouch for your friend to come to the afters, especially if they're steaming, because you never know what type of mood, what type of state they're going to come in, and they might end up embarrassing you, and then they might end up ruining your reputation with those people. So whoever you got to the afters with, like, you know, usually if you're smart, you kind of, you know, you don't get too smashed up, so that you can maybe befriend somebody in the club who then you can kind of latch onto, and then at the end of the club they'll be like, hey, do you want to come to mine? And then there you're there. But you should never really, even if they're your friend, even if you know the person, you should never vouch for somebody after the fact, because you never know how they might appear. Another aspect I think of the afters, which is an unwritten rule, a rule that we all should know, an unwritten rule that we all should know, at, you know, in terms of good afters etiquette, is to never record. I don't know about you, but no one ever needs to tell me that you're not meant to be recording people, taking pictures, whatever, and afters. At the very least, if you're going to record, maybe don't share the pictures and the video with people outside of the afters. You know, maybe just keep it to the afters crew. Maybe that might be a good way to kind of deal with things, but that's not the case. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a Premier League referee, yes, you guessed it, an English Premier League referee has been exposed for saying some disparaging things about the teams in the Premier League and the manager, which is obviously, you know, not the best thing to do. And I think it might actually be illegal as a referee to kind of speak openly about other clubs like this, because it means that you might have a bias and whatever it may be. It went kind of viral on my side of social media, and for me it just exposed the lack of common decency, the lack of respect, you know, that occurs in nightlife with some people, where they need to be told explicitly, hey, what you're doing is kind of lame. Because I think most people know that you're not meant to record people at afters. You're meant to kind of keep that stuff private. You're meant to just enjoy it in the moment, and you're not meant to release this type of stuff to the public. But they did, and if anything, they've destroyed this guy's life, because he's been suspended by the Premier League. He most likely will get fired, and then he'll have to find a whole nother career outside of doing this, or maybe he'll move to Middle East and start refereeing over there. But regardless, they've destroyed this guy's career, all because they wanted a bit of social media clout on the internet. It's absolutely disgusting, I feel like, because, you know, he didn't really say nothing that bad anyway, right? But just for likes and giggles, they'd share this stuff anyway. So this is the clip that went viral on my side of social media. It features Premier League referee David Coote saying some disparaging stuff about Liverpool and their former manager Jurgen Klopp.
The Liverpool game earlier when you were fourth official.
Liverpool was shit.
What do you think of Jurgen Klopp?
Cunt, absolutely.
What would you say? Why would you say that Jurgen Klopp was a cunt?
Aside from having a right pop at me when I ref them against Burnley in lockdown, then he accused me of lying, and then just had a right fucking pop at me, and I've got no interest in speaking to someone who's fucking arrogant. So I do my best not to speak to him. Milner's alright. I get on with so
James Milner. You get on with James Milner.
You can see me there with mask on.
Yeah. Mask on, obviously.
Yeah. COVID got to be done. Social distancing, right? We're 2 meters apart.
We have to social distance.
Yeah. So, but oh my god, German cunt, fuck me.
Long story short, Jurgen Klopp's a cunt. Liverpool are all fucking belly.
So as you can tell, this guy is the one responsible for the release. Obviously, this is an old video based on them talking about COVID rules and stuff. So this was definitely filmed around the COVID era, which makes it even more sickening, because most likely the situation you could imagine would be that this kid or somebody connected with him got a hold of that footage and was trying to blackmail the referee. Most likely is what was happening. And the referee, obviously, like a good egg, wise decision, decided not to be blackmailed, decided not to pay the ransom, said whatever, and they released the footage, and now here we are in this situation. So I think the person to blame is definitely this kid or someone connected to him, because again, who knows, maybe he didn't release it, maybe somebody found his phone, got it hacked into his iCloud, whatever may happen. But I just think the idea of sitting at afters, they're probably both steaming too, that's a funny thing, right? It sounds like they're in afters, or they're doing some sort of like house party thing. maybe during COVID because none of the clubs are open, but it does sound like they're alone in that room together. I didn't really hear much other noise in the background from other people. So, you know, two dudes in a room together alone, you know, what's going on there? So in a weird way, exposing this guy has maybe exposed himself in a way as well. But I just think with that aside, who gives a fuck, sexuality, whatever they got, you know, they're coming out or not. The main thing is that this kid is recording somebody in a situation that you don't need to record. The beauty of an afters is the nature of you just being there and experiencing that moment for what it is, because you can't really replicate it. A video, if anything, recording yourself at an afters, in my opinion, is only going to make you depressed. It's only going to make you question all your life choices, like sitting there in a room full of strangers, trying to split or trying to spread like half a gram of whatever else that you have left onto some sort of kitchen table, while you overhear the people who own the house arguing in the background, or you depressingly hear a baby upstairs crying or something, or a kid comes downstairs while you're mid racking up some flipping multivitamins and says, you know, daddy, can I have something to eat for breakfast, please, or something, right? Like crazy situations like that. You're meant to experience them for how depressing and how eye-opening, right, and how dark and bleak they are for what they are. If you record that, it's just going to make it worse. So you just leave the recording alone. You're not going to look nice during that recording of you being at an afters, because most likely you are up for fucking however many hours, you know, completely blasted out of your mind. So you're not going to be in a good state. No one looks attractive. No one looks cool. You all look like losers. You all should be at home with your families under your duvet, having a shower, having a good breakfast, getting out and having some sunlight. But instead, you've got all the blinds closed in this apartment somewhere in the depths of South London, and you're desperately, frantically looking at your phone, checking your contact list for a dealer that can get to you at 8 a.m. in the morning. You know, it's all bad. It's all bad across the board, but it's meant to be experienced in the situation, in situ, sorry. It's meant to be experienced in situ. It's not meant to be recorded, and that footage is not meant to be, decimated between people. That's not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be experienced. Leave the afters for the afters. Don't expose people. It's absolutely lame. Next video.
Just to be clear, that fucking last video can't go anywhere. Seriously.
He's a Premier League referee. Let's not fucking ruin his career. Like, let's face it, we're good blokes, but we can't ruin a bloke's career. Like, we're not that bad. Also, he's a fucking legend.
So yeah.
So let's not
ruin his career, but then here he is ruining his career. It's absolutely heinous, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I've been, especially, maybe Berghain's kind of taught me that, but the amount of times I've been in Berghain and seen like really proper famous people in there, and you know, given all the content I make about that place, given all the content I make about or I make about Berlin in general, given the amount of yapping time I've spent on the internet, you've never once heard me speak about these people, because it's not necessary. It's not needed. Those type of places that you go into them because of the anonymity. You go into them because of the privacy, and because of the ability to just, like, you know, dive on deep into a pool of kind of hedonism without having to worry about someone recording you. And the fact that everyone's phone is covered kind of helps, but you know, you don't really you don't fucking tittle-tale, you know, you just keep it to yourself. Or tattletale, sorry. You just keep it to yourself. You don't go and just start speaking about everyone's business. It's not necessary. You can experience what you're experiencing without naming names. Like, even this particular story could have been told without naming names. It could have been told without, you know, recording a video. But I think some people are just so desperate, like they don't really. And I've also wondered if, like, this is kind of part of the reason why a lot of celebrities are so guarded and so hesitant to kind of communicate or hang out with fans and just chill, because I'd imagine most people are like this guy. Most people don't know how to hang in general. Think about all your friends, right? And we all have them. Think about your friends. There's at least there's at least 2 to 5 people in your friendship group who are liabilities. We all have them, right? They're liabilities. You have to, you know, look after them. You have to check their bags, make sure they got their phones and their keys, make sure their phones are charged. You have to kind of make sure they're not getting their drinks fucked with, or some random dude isn't trying to talk. Like, you just have to always keep an eye on them. And these are grown adults. We all have those friends. So I think if that's the case, it would lead me to believe that the majority of people don't know how to hang, whether it's with their friends or famous people. They don't know how to just chill. They don't have to be in a room with people who are maybe got some level of fame and notoriety and not take their phone and ask for a picture or overly fucking bother them or ask them about this movie they filmed or just it's like, bruh, just leave them alone, relax, maybe have a normal conversation about the weather, about something you saw on TV that doesn't involve them, something you might have saw on the news, I don't know, some game you're playing, your kid, whatever, anything apart from talking about them. But I think most people just don't have the ability to do that. That's why we're in the situation we're in. Anyway, the development on this obviously story is really sad because now that Premier League referee has been suspended, courtesy of Sky News here. Premier League referee David Coote has been suspended after a video appears to show him insulting Liverpool FC and Klopp. So he has been suspended now, according to Sky News. Just played the video that reports on it, and then we can continue on.
It was only a couple of hours ago that this video first emerged on social media. The refereeing body PGMOL started looking into it and then very swiftly announced that they had decided to suspend David Coote, saying that he was suspended pending a full investigation. They're not going to be making any comment until that process is complete. But certainly this video, which started to circulate, showing a referee who's been at the top of his game for 8 years in the Premier League, making some apparently very disparaging comments, and we can take a listen to it now.
What did you think of the Liverpool game earlier when you were fourth official?
Liverpool.
What do you think of Jurgen Klopp?
Absolutely.
So he's making comments there about Jurgen Klopp, who left Liverpool as manager in the summer. So the PGMOL is trying to exactly verify when this video apparently was recorded, but David Coote was refereeing still at the weekend, managing Liverpool's 2-0 victory over Aston Villa. So this certainly will raise questions about his very future in the game. And while it might seem unusual for some to be talking about a referee rather than the players, we have seen in recent years players themselves often gain a status and profile on the same level as some of the players at times, with their appointments to matches being debated and discussed by players, managers, and indeed fans, discussing in terms of how a referee might be suitable or not for their match. But certainly this video, highly embarrassing for the Premier League as they try to assess the veracity, the authenticity, and indeed the very nature of this video.
Veracity, authenticity, it's real, bro, it's real. We've all seen it. We know what happened. Like I said, I just think the kid who did it is an absolute piece of shit, is an absolute prick, and he deserves everything that's coming to him, in my personal opinion. Going around recording people like this in the first place is a no-no. Sharing it in any way, even if it wasn't him, even if it was inadvertently him, whoever happened to share it, you're an absolute piece of shit, and people should respect people's privacy in these type of moments and just enjoy. You know, imagine you're at afters and suddenly you're hanging around some Premier League referee. I don't know, chew his ear off about football. I don't know. Ask him how he got started in the game. I don't know. Talk about other things. Have that story to share with your friends or about the pub somewhere. Oh my God, you'll never guess who I was with the other day. And just have that story just be that story. Some people won't believe you, but it's a story that you can share with your friends that they'll go and share with other people, and it can have its own legend in that regard. We don't need to record people. You don't need to fuck up their lives just because they wanted to sit down and have a kind of conversation with you. It's absolutely out of order in my personal opinion. But again, what do I know? Absolutely nothing. One thing I do know about, though, is not being an idiot and not doing dumb, lame things on the internet. That's one thing I do know about.